everyone, it's Holly Marie King, and we are back with your Dry Delight. Oh, so soon after the last one. I did say I was going to try to start doing this more often, so keeping with it. For me, it's been several weeks since I recorded. For you, it's 3 weeks, maybe? Anyway, here we go. We're going to start. Oh, where should I load? Oops. Ah, what a lovely night. What do you say we go get a drink? Boss, it's oh, no, wait, hold on. Go to... Yeah. Here we go. Take 2. We spend the rest of the day going through reports, most of them related to Italian gang activity. All these are... Ooh. That spit went the wrong way. Thank you. Refreshing and tasty. It doesn't exactly put me at ease for when I leave the office heading towards the Little Italy to pick up Myers' cake. I keep picturing his face, and my mind wanders to how he might react when I hand this to him. Will it really make him happy? Aside from those distracting thoughts, though, my bakery trip is an uneventful one. Prized cargo in hand, I end up at the speakeasy just as night's settling in. Welcome, sir. Please enjoy your night. Thank you. Don't mind if I do. The doorman gives his customary greeting and I casually nod while stepping past. Oh, here I am, a detective on a risky job, shuffling into a speakeasy with a cake and a paper bag, like some kid holding onto a school line. Not my finest moment. The place is packed full, just like last night, which means I can't really pick Meyer out easily. I guess if I hang around the bar long enough, maybe he'll show up. Oh, it's Mr. Jack. A coarse voice, different from Myers, growls out behind me. Oh, I turn to see one of the rough-looking men I'd noticed last night staring at me suspiciously. I think I like him more than the other guy. I'm gonna pat you down. Make sure you aren't healed, understand? What? No one did this to me last night. What's the big idea? Would you shut up? I'm not here to answer questions. I can't do his voice. Before I have a chance to protest further, he grabs me and starts patting my pockets and roughly feeling around. Oof. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna be taking this for tonight. The man pulls out the piece I'd been carrying as insurance, just in case things went south. Well, now I feel even more like a defenseless kid. Great. Just don't pull any dumb moves and you'll be fine. We like to keep things real cordial around here. Got it? Yeah, I got it. Good. Then we'll be heading into the back room. Whatever you... Wait, the back room? Wait, where are you taking me? Wait! Oof. The man suddenly grabs my wrist, pulling me along the speak's perimeter. My heart starts to pound in my chest. What am I getting dragged into? I told the officers not to get close to the place unless I was gone for a while. But who knows what will happen in the meantime? Oh, relax. You know you're fine. My semi-captor takes me to the back of the parlor and down a long, dark corridor. The music and laughter fade slowly into the distance, replaced by only the sound of our footsteps. Finally, we reach a large... Wow, we reach a large door. Finally, we reach a large black door, and the man knocks firmly on it several times. Come in. God, that was bright. The door opens into a warmly lit, spacious parlor. Not exactly the scary, dank room I'd been expecting. And there, in the middle of a lush couch, sits a familiar, tall man. Mr. Eastman, your friend's here. Yes, I can see that. Thank you for bringing him in. Make sure no one intrudes on us, if you'd be so kind. Yes, sir. The bodyguard's better, okay? I like him better. With a polite nod, the other man departs, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Once he's gone, Meyer and I stare at each other for a few seconds in silence. I can only think that this dramatic reintroduction was deliberate. He knows I can read the subtext. Well, I brought your cake. I lift the bag in my hand and shake it a little, laughing nervously. Ah, I knew I could count on you. A pleased smile slowly spreads over his lips, and the sight makes me relax a little. He pats the couch beside him, and I don't exactly feel like I'm in a position to refuse. I approach and tentatively lower myself down, sinking into the soft cushions. Why? You're as stiff as a sheet of glass. What's wrong, Jack? Your secretary back there wasn't exactly the most gentle of fellows. I apologize. They're used to dealing with coarser individuals than yourself. You see, and I forgot to tell him to use kid gloves. It's not that. I just wasn't quite expecting all of this. All of this? You mean a nice back room and a speakeasy? Meyer gives me a faux innocent look. Right, that's obviously what I was referring to. Anyway, here. Your prize. I hope it didn't get smushed when your lackey was jostling me around. I offer Meyer the bag with the cake, and his eyes light up when he takes it from my hands. Wonderful! I can smell it already. Siz schleck zu essen from den Breit. I am so sorry if I butchered that horribly. I tried. My rabbi used to say, but I like to pretend it doesn't apply to cakes. He gazes longingly at the bag for a moment, then sets it to one side. A smile finds its way into my lips before I realize it. The way he likes sweets so much really reminds me of Leslie. Oh, before I forget, I have something for you, Jack. Meyer leans around the edge of the sofa, grunting softly before straightening back up with a bottle in hand. Old Forester Kentucky whiskey, the label reads. You remembered? I have an excellent memory, especially when it comes to people who catch my interest. Sorry. There's so much tension in this room. He takes a glass from the table beside him and starts to pour me a drink, humming softly. I notice that he's already got a half-empty cup of coffee for himself, black as the night. This is a quality product right here. I promise there's no Ed involved. Meyer hands me the glass, letting his fingers brush against mine for a moment longer than necessary. Ooh, things are getting hot in here. Ah, thanks. You're quite the host. You expected anything less? Suave, real suave. He turns a little bit on the sofa, propping one elbow against the back so he can gaze at me head on. Feeling slightly embarrassed under his stare, I take a curious sip of the drink. Damn, it goes down so easy. That's what she said. I'm sorry. It's getting so intense. Good enough that I can see why you're not serving it out there. A man has to make a living, unfortunately. Buying and transporting high-quality goods is expensive, not to mention risky. I'd much prefer to serve good liquor over the common swill, but it's not quite feasible yet. He pauses for a thoughtful moment, though his eyes float back to my face soon after. Well, about that information I owe you, assuming you're still interested in work. As I nurse my drink, Meyer begins to describe the main mafia figures in the city, along with the various rackets they keep in great detail. Combined with everything else I've seen tonight, I think it confirms my suspicions. He's near the top of the underworld food chain in Cleveland. He's not even trying to hide it. In fact, I think he's just playing a game with me, seeing how far we can take this before one of us has to state the obvious. Knowing that, you would think I'd be incredibly uncomfortable right now, but for whatever reason, being around Meyer puts me completely at ease. It's because he's hot, and he's talking to you in such a way that's suave. You can't take it. Maybe it's his disarming casual mannerisms, or the soft and smooth way he speaks. There's nothing aggressive or thug-like about him. He's perfectly composed, yeah, for now. Occasionally, he shifts on the soda beside me, brushing my leg with his own in a way that can't possibly be an accident. No, it's no accident. I promise you, sir. It is not. I can't tell what's going on behind his twinkling green eyes, but there's something playfully devious about the glances he keeps giving me. It's because he wants you! And I think that would make our trade just about even, no? He finishes his thorough description with an impish wink, taking a sip of his coffee. You sure are familiar with all the gang activity here, aren't you? If I didn't know better, I'd almost think you controlled some of it yourself. Me? Why, I'm not sure what would lead you to such an outrageous conclusion. Instead of looking offended, though, Meyer presses in a little closer, his smirk suddenly growing mischievous. Oh, he's getting closer. After all, it's rather rash to assume things about people you don't know particularly well. Don't you agree, Richard? How do you... He smugly lifts the cake bag, wrestling it before my face. Your name is on the label. A mistake I wouldn't expect from you. If you'll pardon my rudeness, were you distracted at the time you purchased it? Oh, he called you out. I'm not about to mention how I was daydreaming about him when I bought the cake. Yes! You know that you want each other. It's gonna happen. I think I'd rather just let my professional pride take the fall. Of course, I know you're a detective, too, and I can guess why you're here. But please, don't take it as a blow to your acting skills. I'm just well acquainted with a number of professional liars, you see. If you already know so much about me, why are you pouring me drinks rather than having me shot and dumped in the alley? Yeah, I would click my tongue at him, Meyer. Yes, yes. Meyer clicks his tongue, lightly wagging a finger at me. He's even got the finger waggle going. Oh, Richard, you're silly. Violence is not how I prefer to do business, Richard. It's only ever a temporary solution. Violence begets violence, which is why you have warring Italian crime families rather than one consolidated, powerful body. Oh, Meyer, you're so smart. No. In most circumstances, I would much rather make friends than enemies. Friends like you, which is why you're not being dumped in an alley. Although, I would never harm a Shayna Poonim like you. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered it, no matter what my moral code was. He shifts on the sofa again, this time letting his legs stay resting against my own. I swallow, relieved at Meyer's explanation, but acutely aware of his face being mere few inches to my right. You, certainly aren't like any other guy I've met, law-abiding or otherwise. Why, don't you tell me more? Why don't you tell me more about what it's like? Sorry, that was a hard sentence for me. Being in this risky business. I clumsily attempt to slide the conversation in another direction, daring to glance over at Meyer. No, please. I know a one-sided agreement when I see one. With the gloating air of someone who's just caught their opponent cheating, Meyer shakes his head. I'll answer a few questions of yours, but only on the condition I can ask questions of my own. I swear on my honor to answer with the truth, and you'll do the same, but we can each avoid one question in exchange for a favor. Does that strike you as fair? His tone casually rises up at the end, not so subtly daring me to accept. I think I'd be an idiot to expect a businessman like yourself to play fair, but all right, I'll bite. Ooh, that's what I like to hear. Oh, you're giving him what he wants. Meyer gives me a rakish, teasing grin, all too pleased with my reply. As a gesture of goodwill, I'll even let you start. Really? How do you make any money with that kind of generosity? Oh, you'd be surprised. As Meyer chuckles to himself, I pause and ponder on just what to ask. What do I most want to know about? Ask about his history, ask about his gang. I want to ask about his gang. Why don't you tell me more about your organization here? The organization? I see you're already using proper terminology. He purrs at me with amusement in his voice, more teasing than patronizing. After a moment, Meyer clears his throat, gesturing around the room as if to evoke the image of a large group. We've had involvement in a variety of industries you might find to be unsavory. I won't attempt to deny that, and I'd be insulting your intelligence to proclaim otherwise. But here in Cleveland and some other parts of our nation, we see our trade as a proper business, something to be discussed with cigars instead of shotguns. Vice, after all, is there to be commercialized, just like anything else. that people want. Meyer's low, calm way of speaking makes what he says sound entirely natural. Like he's a banker or a lawyer or any other type of respectable professional. Maybe he really does see himself like that. I'm not sure how much Jewish history you're familiar with, but over the years we've dealt with a great deal of hostile sentiments from Gentiles. I know that word. The nanny, thank you. And now, my men and I faced denunciation from our own people, many of whom see us as villains. Maybe that's why our organization is clearer than family. But I'm not unhappy. I enjoy what I do for a living, and more importantly, I like to think I'm rather good at it. It takes all types, don't you think, Richer? I think it's Richter, but I like Richer better. So, that's a funny question to be asking a detective. Are you truly a detective right now, though? Aren't you just a man enjoying conversation with his fellow man? He quirks one eyebrow at me provocatively, taking another sip of his coffee, maybe to hide a smile. He might be right in a way. After all, if I were really here to do my job, I wouldn't be drinking with a mob boss, would I? You know, I'd always separated mobsters from real people in my head. Like you were all just monsters who'd lost your humanity. But listening to you talk, I guess it makes me realize how we're not so different after all. I twirl my glass between my fingers, unsure if that knowledge makes me more happy or grim. Meyer studies me in silence for a little while. It's not an awkward silence, though, just a thoughtful one. Well, your turn. For a question, you have one? Oh, I have many. When the silence finally breaks, Meyer gives me a wry grin, his eyes momentarily flicking down to my mouth. Ooh, he gonna kiss you. Yeah, I'm listening. Alright, what's your greatest fear? My greatest fear? He nods, watching me expectantly. No immediate answers pop into my head, so I mull over the question for a moment. My greatest fear, something that would keep me from sleeping at night. Hurting innocent people. Oh? I nod, forcing a brief, awkward smile as I take another sip of my drink. Meyer doesn't add anything further, though. Is he waiting for me to elaborate? I just think it's my duty, well, the duty of everyone in law enforcement, to make sure Americans are safe and happy. That's why we exist. It's not just a job you do for money. It's a job that lets you go home feeling better about the world, even if it's just a little bit. Meyer tilts his head a little to one side, eyes glimmering at me. Ooh, he likes you. His hand slips onto my shoulder, resting there gently for a few seconds before squeezing it. Very admirable, Richard. Although, I have to wonder just where Volstead fits into that. He trails off curiously. Is he trying to lead me somewhere with that vague comment? Well, it's your turn, isn't it? Why don't you ask me something light-hearted? I don't mind if you get more personal. He leans in a little more, hand still lingering on my shoulder. I can smell his light cologne and the subtle, earthy scent of coffee. I've been trying desperately to keep my nerves under control, but it's getting harder and harder the more Meyer teases into my personal space. Let's ask if he has a lover. Yeah. Do you, have a lover? A wife? You must, right? Being the cat's meow and all. No. Meyer responds casually, offering a little shrug when I shoot a glance over at him. Is it my imagination, or does he look incredibly smug right now? Why are you wearing that expression? Are you so very surprised, or maybe you're relieved? No, just surprised is all. I really didn't think you'd still be a bachelor. And why is that? Because I'm the cat's meow. Can we just get on with the next question? I fucking love this. Pausing, Meyer makes a show of tapping a finger against his bottom lip, turning his eyes towards the ceiling. It's such an obvious display that I know for a fact he's already got his question picked out, and he's just toying with me. I drain the last of my glass in an attempt to act casual, turning my head away slightly. Ah, I've got one. What memory do you have of your first kiss? Please, describe it in great detail. Oh my. I nearly choke on my drink. So this is what he was planning all along? I'm listening very attentively. Hold on, Damn it, I know this is what he wants me to say, but it'll be a cold day in hell before I tell this guy I've never properly kissed anyone before. Can I just trade the favor? Oh? Don't feign surprise, you bastard. In that case, I suppose I'll take you up on that favor right now. Oh, I reflexively squeeze my eyes shut, sucking in a breath. It feels like my chest is going to explode. Richard, what are you doing? I reopen my own eye to see Meyer staring at me quizzically. I thought no, of course he wouldn't. He's too much of a gentleman. Just, a little dizzy from the drink. So, what do you want from me for the favor? Well, you'll probably think of me a fool for saying this, but... Reaching for the bag at his right, Meyer lifts it up and sighs happily, slipping his hand inside it to unwrap the cake. I'd like you to share it with me. Share? The cake? He nods, pulling back the new paper wrapping to reveal the delicious-looking spongy white dessert. I feel guilty enjoying it by myself, especially considering you brought it for me. You sly dog, you. So, I would prefer we savor it together. Does that sound agreeable? Ha! I haven't had a thing since lunch, so you're asking the right guy. Should we just cut it in half or what? No. You're going to feed it to me. I blink at Meyer, unsure if I heard him correctly. He gazes back at me calmly. I definitely didn't mishear that, did I? If you want, then should I go get a fork, or that won't be necessary? Come, take a bite. Meyer offers the cake to me, along with a daring raise of his brow. I feel like I just walked right into a trap. You done did, sir. But I knew that from the beginning, didn't I? And I came here all the same because I wanted it to happen. I take a small bite of the cake, letting the fluffy sweetness rest on my tongue. Then... Meyer gently curls a finger into my chin, gradually closing the distance between us. His chest presses against mine, pinning me to the back of the sofa. There's no need to be embarrassed, Richard. He breathes those words against my cheek, pulling my jaw down ever so slightly to part my lips. Oh, he done did it. Slowly, delicately, he covers my mouth with his own. The sweet flavor mingles between our tongues, but my head feels so foggy that I can barely think about how it tastes. Meyer teases me with maddeningly light, soft kisses, pulling back a little bit each time I start to press forward. He's really trying to provoke me, isn't he? Well, it's working. I bite down hard on his lower lip, exhaling a hot, impatient breath. Momentarily, his chest presses harder against mine. His kisses suddenly grow more aggressive, hard and deep, so intense that I have to gasp for air whenever I can. I pull his coat off his shoulders, grasping needily at his shirt, letting my hands wander all over his powerful body. Hey, buddy, it's your first kiss. Relax. Gotcha him. Just as his tongue starts to slip into my mouth, he pulls it back again, this time breaking into a devilish grin. If I'd known you would be so eager, I would have done this a lot sooner. Are we gonna spend the whole night talking or share more of that cake? I can't disappoint my favorite detective now, can I? It would be horrible if you clapped me in shackles and brought me in for interrogation after all. Oh my god. You nasty. Oh, so hilarious. You sound pretty excited about that idea, actually. And can you blame me? Meyer swipes a finger through the cake's icing, then presses it past my lips. I suckle on it without hesitation, lapping the sweetness off his fingertip, a faint moan leaking from my throat before I can contain it. Richard. Oh, they're making out again. Meyer suddenly leans in for another kiss, trailing his fingers along my bottom lip. This time he's the impatient one, his tongue pressing instantly against my lips until I part them. It greedily swirls around my mouth, tangling with my own tongue as Meyer presses me roughly against the couch. It's like he can't get enough of me, and I can't get enough of him. I grasp his hips and keep him pulled forward, wanting more and more. Is this gonna get a little too dark for this video? We might have to cut it short. As we trade eager, wet kisses, my mind hazily wanders towards a certain question. What am I really doing here? Am I trying to live out some detective seduced by mobster fantasy? Or is it like Myers said? Are we just two men outside of our opposite professions, savoring each other's company? If Leslie could see me right now, I don't know what he'd think, or if he'd even find it excusable. Excuse me, sir. You are having an exchange. Why are you even thinking about this? But if I'm so easily turned away from my duties by a gangster, maybe I was never cut out for this line of work to begin with. One of Myers' hands drifts down my chest, slipping around my waist to squeeze my hip. I normally wouldn't do this on a first date, especially since I'd like to give you a reason to come back. He heatedly murmurs a string of words in between breathless kisses, not giving me a moment to reply. But it doesn't feel like you'll need too much convincing. His fingertips tease along my inner thigh, sending shivers through me from head to toe. Just a little bit higher, a little higher. A frantic knock at the door makes both of us jerk apart. Myers throws back his hair and clothes, sitting back and clearing his throat. Come in. The door instantly flies open and one of Myers' men bolts inside. Mr. Eastman! Mr. Eastman, there's a bunch of cops sniffing around right outside the joint. I think something's about to go down if we don't stop them. Wait! Those are my guys. Safety precaution. I jump up from the sofa, inwardly kicking myself. Damn it, I should have told them to go home earlier. I lost track of time and shit, there's no excuse. It's alright, Richard. Myers' gentle voice calls to me reassuringly. Go put your men at ease. Maybe, by some grand stroke of fate, you'll end up here again tomorrow, and we can resume our talk. He puts on one of his wickedly innocent smiles and winking at me. Whew, innocent! Thanks. I hope I can see you soon. You doubtlessly will. With a hasty nod, I turn and follow the other man to the door, smoothing back my own ruffled hair. Luckily for me, those officers probably aren't being paid enough to ask many questions. Oh, and Richard, he calls out to me just as I'm about to cross the threshold, and I glance back at him. Don't forget what your real duty is. Good night. Oh my god. Okay, Myers' man shuffles me along the exit before I have a chance to reply. Whew, that was awesome. That was an intense episode. I'm gonna end it here. This is a good time to say goodbye. Holy cow, wow. That was intense, wasn't it? It was pretty fun. But yeah, I will read more of this, of course. So it's not the end of Richard and Meyer. But, holy cow. We'll see if I can read the whole thing. There might be pieces I have to leave out. Jesus. But yeah, hey, if you liked this episode, make sure you leave a like. If you want more, I will be definitely reading more of this. Go ahead and subscribe. I also have Dies Irae Amentis Amentis, which is the main one that I read on my channel. So if you haven't checked that one out, go ahead and check it out. If you think you know someone that would be interested in the story, be sure to give it a share. But if you hated it, I don't know why you're still here. There's a chance for you to get out now if you want. You don't have to be here. We're good, you and I. No offenses are here. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. They're just words. But, yeah, anyway, hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye.